Good morning, everyone. Andy, you got to move your screen down a little bit. All we see is the top half of your face. There you go. Perfect.
Right.
Happy
Being
Friday.
live.
No, it's Thursday. Happy Thursday. Yeah,
I know it's so difficult in
It
these
is.
days to remember what day it is, right?
What day is it? What time is it? What am I supposed to be doing right now? All right.
All
So does everyone
right.
have their tea or hot chocolate? I have my hot chocolate. Again, don't do tea. So
Oh, I got my extra dark tea. Okay, so looks like we're up and running on YouTube. And Lisa and I both have our beverages, morning beverages. Hot
got it.
chocolate for Lisa, coffee for me. So today, guys, we are going to talk about money.
Ooh, look at that.
Right? Money sucks, doesn't it, Lisa?
Yeah, it does. It's a necessary evil, though. You have to learn how to deal with it because it's going to be part of your life.
That's right. That's right. And everyone has a different philosophy on money. I believe one of the best philosophies on money is to save as much as you possibly can. And I know that's not everyone's belief. And a lot of people put more value on their entertainment. Certainly, we all at Upward Bound put a lot of value on investing in ourselves, right? So college educations, that's an investment in yourself. That's what we're all working for. And so we're going to talk about 4 things that kind of get you started on money, finances, being in the know to be an adult, being able to save your money or spend your money the way you set the goal to do. So those 4 things we're going to talk about today are filling out a W-4 and what that means for your income taxes, rules of budgeting, how to write a check, how to find a checking account or a savings account at a bank or a credit union, and what kinds of things you should be looking for. Okay. Let's start with the W-4, and I'm going to share my screen so that you can all see the W-4. For those of you that have had a job already, you filled out, or you likely filled out, a previous version of the W-4. The IRS, the Internal Revenue Service, just changed it this year, 2020. So it's sort of brand new. But if you have done it, you'll recall that you had to fill out exemptions. And if you filled out a 0 exemption, you got a lot of money taken out in taxes and then probably a good amount of money back in April for tax time. Although that's changed this year too, right? It's July 15th.
Yeah.
Instead of April 15th was always tax day. Well, it still is tax day, but COVID-19 has other ideas for us this year. And so July 15th is our due date for our taxes. So for those procrastinators out there, we can be doing our taxes on July 13th.
I know some will be doing it on July 14th.
So I always get mine done, at least a couple weeks ahead of time. And then I do my parents' taxes. Well, and that's always like a April 14th, 15th sort of thing.
So I am just the opposite. I had my taxes done like the 3rd week in January.
Yeah.
One thing you definitely don't want to do is don't do them. Always, always, always pay your taxes. I know, you're probably thinking, what could happen? But you know what? It will come back later on to haunt you. So whatever the date may be, usually April 15th, but whatever the date is, make sure you do it. Make sure it gets done. Very important.
Absolutely. So I'm going to share my screen here and show you all the First, I'm going to show you the YouTube video because that's what I have up on my web browser. And then I'm going to show you the W-4. Let me see. Hopefully can we all see this? Got a lag on the YouTube, so oh yeah, here it is. So the W-4, you get a brand new job and you go into the human resources office and they say, we got this whole packet of paperwork for you. Here you go. Like, great. There's things in there like I-9, which says that you are a citizen or you're a permanent resident and you are allowed to work in the United States. So I get all my paperwork done. I want to get paid. There's a couple payment. How do you get payment? And if you work in the United States, if you work in New York, you must pay taxes, income taxes. And that's where this W-4 comes in. This is an IRS document. You see at the top, Department of the Treasury, Internal Revenue Service. This is the guy. Now, an important note about this form is that you can change it at any time. You can literally sort of play with this. So if you fill this out and then you get your first paycheck and you think, it's really not enough money for me to live on, you can print another one of these off of the IRS website, fill it out with different exemptions, and take it into your human resources office and have it changed. So you can do that. There's no limit on the amount of times you can fill this out. Most people don't. They fill it out once. They don't really know what they're doing, and they submit it, and it's good for maybe the 50 years that they work for a company or a college or wherever you're working. So what are the parts of this? The top piece is pretty standard, right? Your name, your social security number. Everything you do in this country is associated with your individual number, and that's your social. So for those of you students who don't know your social, and when we have to put your social on a form and you say, I don't know it, and we say, you're going to need to know it. It's because of things like this. You're going to go to that job, you're going to fill out this paperwork, and you don't want to be calling your mom to get your social security number, right? Because thank you, moms, by the way. Thank you so much to all the moms out there, because moms are the keepers generally of the social security card.
I have gotten that text. Mom.
Yeah.
Security number. So yeah, memorize it, learn it. You're going to need it.
Christina and Becky have weighed in. We'll take a quick pause here for some comments. Christina commented that taxes are due July 15th. She's still going to try to get hers done because she needs that sweet tax return to help investment in my grad school education. Great job investing in yourself, Christina. Becky needs her refund ASAP, so she doesn't usually wait. Probably with Lisa getting that done third week in January.
I had my refund probably beginning of February. It was really quick. I was one of the first batches out. The sooner you do it, the sooner you get your money.
That's true. It's true. And it doesn't take very long anymore.
No, because of the direct deposit. That's why it's so quick now.
Yep. So box C, single or married filing jointly. Most of us in the United States are probably in that box. We're either single. So students, you're going to be single, I hope. Dating someone, you're still single, right? You're not married. You're still considered by the IRS a single person until you get that wedding band. If you're married, you can still file separately, okay? Or you can file jointly. That means that your income and your spouse's income. Now zoom in a little. Let's see. Hopefully that's better. Just had a comment to zoom in on the W-4 a little bit. Okay, so you're single, you're married, and you're filing separately, or you're filing jointly. So you and your spouse both work, you both get income, and you both want taxes taken out from your employer. That's what this form is for. W-4 tells your employer how much federal tax to withhold from your pay. Okay, so let's say you make $1,000. They use this certificate to pull out $300 out of that $1,000, and they send it directly to the IRS, and it gets held in the United States Department of the Treasury. And the government uses it for whatever they need through the year, and then they expect to give it back to you in April or January, whenever you fill out your taxes, but by April 15th of the following year. Going further through this form, so it used to be that you'd declare an exemption. Zero exemptions means that I'm single, I'm living, I'm doing okay, I'm still making enough money, and I want a lot taken. There's a lot of people that used to do this. And the reason they would keep their exemptions really, really low is because they would have a lot taken out in taxes. When you get a lot taken out in taxes, you still only have to pay your fair share of the taxes based on what you made. So you get a lot back in your tax refund. And everyone in the world is talking about this right now, like, yay, I get all this money back. And it's like a huge payday, right? Do you treat it that way, Lisa?
Yes, I do. I kind of use it as a savings account, not the smartest thing, but it works for me. I usually have them take out more. I hate having to owe. So usually the way it works for me is I get a pretty substantial amount back for federal, but I wind up pulling about even for state.
Yeah. So there was a couple of points in what Lisa just said, and that is don't wanting to owe. People don't want to owe the government money. And rightly so. You don't want to owe the government money because this time of year, for many people in many jobs, they may have winter layoffs, right? So if you're in construction industry, you're not making as much during the winter, kind of just getting by. And you might not have that surplus of cash money to pay your taxes in April. Okay. So that's certainly something to consider. Most Americans, I would say, have way too much taxes taken out of their paychecks. And they do that kind of on purpose to get the big refund at the beginning of the year. What you need to know about that is that it's not a gift from the government that they're giving you. It's not a payday. It's your money that you didn't get all year long. One whole year, you said, go ahead. I'm going to give my money to Uncle Sam, and Uncle Sam's going to keep that in his pocket. And then he's a really nice guy, and he's going to hand it all back to me in one lump sum next April. And that's great. And a lot of people count on that. It's a good time to go buy a car, hopefully not go shopping, maybe pay off some of that debt from credit cards you accrued all of the last year. And the point is that maybe if you didn't have so much taken out in taxes, maybe you wouldn't have had all that credit card debt because you would have had the money there, or maybe you would have spent the money anyway and you'd be in a not great situation come tax time when you're not getting much back. You still have the credit card debt, and that's a whole nother conversation, and we'll get to that in rules of budgeting. So with this W-4, it gets way more complicated after this. There are several worksheets you can use to determine how much you want to have withheld. And I'm not going to go into that much detail with this because it is so complicated and it's so individual. So what I'm going to say about the W-4 is that I want you to know that you can change it month to month. So sort of play with it so that you can estimate your taxes. There are calculators online that you can find to do that. If you've been working for a couple of years, especially in the same job, you know about how much tax you're going to owe, and you can divvy it up month by month. You know, you take the total year's taxes, divide it by 12. That's how much per month. If you get paid bi-weekly, divide it again by 2, and you get your bi-weekly amount that needs to be taken out. And then you look at your pay stub to see just how much is taken out. Sorry about the chat notifications for Hangout, guys. I'm going to stop screen share in just a minute. Hi, Tyler, by the way. And Tyler, you know I will preach. Tyler knows I like to flex with the cashola. So step 3 is claiming dependents. I have 2 kids, and they're both under the age of 17. So I would multiply that number by 2. So 2 children by 2,000 is $4,000. Maybe I'm the only one working in my house and I want to claim my wife as a dependent as well. And so I'm going to count her in as a $500, add the amounts above, total here, and then you continue on with this worksheet. Now let's say, like in Lisa's case, Lisa has a part-time job and a full-time job, and maybe Lisa wants, you know, tons of money or a high percentage of her pay on her second job taken out to cover the taxes she will accrue from that extra income. Okay, you can do that actually in step 2. So multiple jobs or spouse works. Step 4 is more from someone like me, maybe. So I own a business, and I have, if you're self-employed, you know, if you're mowing lawns, you're shoveling driveways, doing all these things where you're making money, you need to report that income, or you're supposed to report that income. I don't know what percentage of America actually does, but you know, if you're abiding by the rules, you need to report that income. And maybe in your job, you want to have that income automatically taken out of your paycheck because it's easy that way. You can have that extra income taken out of your paycheck through this form. And if, like Lisa or so many Americans, you want to have a big payday in April when you get your tax refund check, you can elect to have a certain amount of money taken out each pay period. And there's ways to estimate what that is. I would say for students, this is going to be a pretty simple certificate for you to fill out. You're single, you don't have any dependents usually, and so your numbers are all going to be 0. You may have a couple part-time jobs, probably won't matter. Your numbers are still going to be 0, and you're going to have a fairly high percentage taken out. You can try to decrease that amount taken out with this form, and your HR representatives at whatever job you're at can really be a good facilitator to help you determine what numbers to put in here. So you want to be talking to them, asking them questions about this form, because that's what it's all about. How much money is taken out of your paycheck and then given back to you in April. Okay. So I think that's probably enough about the W-4. I know it's a daunting, sort of a daunting form, but nothing to be worried about. And remember that you can always change it. And with that, I'm going to stop the share. Back to Lisa and I. Okay, so budgeting. That's a fun one. We budget our time. We've talked about time management. How do we budget money? Lisa, do you have a budget?
Not a formal one down on paper. I kind of know in my head how much money I have coming in every month and how much goes out. So I kind of have an idea. I have in the past done okay, I'm going to put this aside for clothing and this aside for entertainment. I've done that. It doesn't work for me. So I
Mhm.
kind of have, I do have a system. I write down everything. I use a calendar to know what to do when, what's coming in when. So I put it on my calendar. So that's how I do it. There's
Excellent.
lots and lots of different programs. I know has an app on her phone that it's all an electronic budget, and it actually takes money from her paycheck and plops it in different categories
Mhm.
for her. So there's a lot of technology out there now that will assist you in doing that. um, I have not.
Abs- Absolutely, there is. Um, I I am kind of old school, and with I think a rule of budget helps you to set a goal. Okay, so um, you gotta use some math here, guys, and you gotta play with the math a little bit until it works for you. And what I mean by that is that you set a goal for the year. I want to save $2,000 for the year. Okay, how much is that? Well, it's about $192. Um, shoot, I have a calculator.
You want me to divide 2,000 by 12?
2,000 by 26.
76.92, $76.92.
$6.92. Wonderful. So that means that if I want to save $2,000, I need to take out of each paycheck and put into savings $76.92. That's easy, right? So that's a really simple goal. Maybe I want to save $10,000. That's another calculation. Okay. It's probably going to be about $192.
$384.62.
Out of Was that 10,000 divided by 26?
Yep.
Wow, 392.
384.
384.
384.62.
That's a lot of money. I couldn't save that amount of money in a
Me either. Me either.
hmm. Becky says she has all her bills and payments figured out for the next 3 months in an Excel sheet. And Christina uses a calendar method.
Like me.
She's still wanting to spruce up her budgeting methods.
Yeah.
So setting a goal for your savings is good. And for you students, you should really be doing that. You've got some time before college. You've got an idea of what college is going to cost. And now is the time, especially if you have a part-time job, to set that goal for you save every year and save it for something big, something you want. Motivate yourself through that. So either you really buy into the pride of paying for your own college education, or you are really looking forward to that nice, fairly new car or new car. Those are expensive too. How are you going to have the money to pay for that? Well, you're working and you need to save for it. So that's how. Um, Rules of budgeting can help to keep you on track for your savings plan and your spending plan. Now, this takes a lot of knowing yourself and knowing your spending habits. So I would venture a guess that none of us knows exactly how much money we spend in a month. That's my guess. Prove me wrong, everybody. I don't actually know how much money I spend in a month because, I stop for gas and I put $50 in gas in my vehicle, sometimes 2 times a week, sometimes 3 times a week, sometimes even more than that, unfortunately. This COVID-19, I think I've spent $45 in gas in the last 2 weeks, which is wonderful. Now I'm on par with all of you driving little Toyota Priuses. It's about what my wife spends in a week is $45.
Unless you save every single receipt, and I know somebody who did this. Everything they purchased, even if it was a bottle of soda, they saved every single receipt, and at the end of the month, they go through and they could tell you that, but who saves every single receipt? I find mine at the bottom of the floor in the car.
Fair enough. So what is something that can help with that? Maybe you don't necessarily need to save every receipt. And I know that very few people actually pay for things in cash. They're always using a card, right? And so the bank apps for your checking accounts have gotten so good, so easy to use. You can log in and you can monitor your checking balance and the things you've paid for pretty easily. Your bank can give you statements. Maybe they send them already, maybe they're electronic, but you can see all of the things you've spent money on. And so sometimes it's very worthwhile to go through those and see just how much money you spent, and you can see kind of where it went. So if you spent money at the Exxon Mobil, you're probably buying gas for your vehicle. That's a pretty necessary expense. If you spent money at Dunkin' Donuts, guess what? That was money that just got consumed out the window. That is called your wants. Okay. So when we're talking about rules of budgeting, there's some key terms. You have your wants. That's going to the movie theater, getting your fancy coffee from Timmy Ho's or Dunkin'. That's maybe going to McDonald's for the burger. What else? Going to the theater, maybe. Those are all wants.
Going to Michael's.
Going to Michael's. Yeah, Lisa doesn't need her art canvases and paint supplies. Lisa could show us a shelf in her house that is full of probably $500 worth of paint.
Yeah, I can actually. It's right over there.
So that's the first one, your wants. Then you need to determine what are your necessities. So Lisa and I have necessities, right? We have rent, mortgage payment, or property taxes, phone.
Probably for you guys, one of the first bills that you're going to have as a teenager is your phone.
A cell phone.
Yeah, your cell
and
phone.
Hopefully that's about the only one. Your parents are probably providing a lot for you, but your clothes, your food, that's all necessities. And it is for adults, Lisa and I. Food is a necessity. We have to eat, and our families have to eat. When I go to the grocery store, it's because I have to go to the grocery store. I go to the grocery store and I buy the eggs and bread and potatoes and pasta that I need to feed my family. I generally am also buying like Pepsi and Reese's peanut butter eggs and a whole lot of other things that I probably don't need to classify as necessity. But hey, if I got that money in my budget, I can go wild, right? So wants and necessities, the two first main parts of your budgeting rule. What are the other parts of your budgeting rule? Well, for what you should have is savings. And you'll find some budgeting rules will be broken up into 3 or 4 parts. So long-term savings, short-term savings, and you may not have any savings at all. And people, when you hear people working paycheck to paycheck, they're probably just, their budget consists of wants and needs. And that's it. They're probably not saving any money. They're using their taxes to save money. But my recommendation is that you do have a savings goal and you do create a budget with a budget rule that has at least those 3 parts: your wants, your needs, and your savings. So what can that look like? Is completely up to you. It's out of 100% of your take-home salary. Okay, so take the amount of money you make And I know for students, it's going to vary week to week because you work different hours and maybe your supervisor doesn't give you the hours you want. That's fine. You gotta work with it. You gotta play with it, but you can break it down into percentages. So if I've got 3 parts, a third is going to go to living, a third is going to go to wants, and a third is going to go to savings, right? Maybe. You might need more to live. Lisa and I are going to need way more to live right now for our necessities than any of you students are, because my guess is you don't have a house to pay for, and you probably don't have a car and an insurance bill and all of those things that go with it. So your budget can look a little different. Your budget could look like 10% goes to your necessities, 20% goes to your wants, and 70% goes to your savings. That would be an ideal world, I think.
Yeah. I don't know anybody who could do that.
Yeah, you probably don't do that. And so, rule you use, find one that works for you, and certainly give us a call and we'll help you figure that out. But it starts with your own self-control. I think handling your personal money is very much like handling your weight and your physical health. So for those of you who have tried to have a gym membership or go for walks every day or exercise, very much the same. It requires some real personal responsibility and committing to something. And I think we find an upward bound that if you set a goal for what you're going to achieve in the end, it gives you something to work for. So for weight loss, I want to drop 20 pounds. Great. I'm going to enact steps to drop 20 pounds. I want to save $2,000 this year. Great. I'm going to enact steps to save $2,000 this year. And with my weight, I'm going to feel better and I'm going to look better. That's my motivation. With my savings, what am I going to do with that 2,000? And that's why I said, think about something you really want, whether it's college or that car. Set that goal and save that money. Now, as you prepare for college, banks, I got to plug in. Banks are an important piece of this, and that's what we'll wrap up with. So there's a lot of different banks around. Each town probably has a couple or more in some cases. And in some of your remote towns, like let's say you live in Bliss, New York, I don't know that there actually is a bank around Bliss, New York. The closest one is probably Arcade, or I don't even know where. But that's certainly something to think about. And when you want to get your money out of your bank, is it going to cost you? I think that is an important principle. So Lisa, how often do you stop at an ATM because you need a little bit of cash and you end up paying a fee?
So I learned that years ago. I found years ago when I first started having a bank account and I got that bank card, that debit card, I was racking up fees. Now I don't get cash out unless it's an emergency. Otherwise, I use the fee free at the 7-Eleven. There's no fee because I go through the Summit Federal Credit Union. So I don't have fees in certain places. So I always go to the same place to get cash out because there's no fees. And if there's a fee, unless it's a desperate emergency, I won't do it. I'm not going to pay $5 just so I can get 20 out. And that's sometimes it's $2.50 for the machine and then $2.50 for the bank. And so no, I avoid that at all costs. That you could easily spend $25-30 a month in ATM fees if you're going regularly, easily, if not more.
And again, that's just your money that you're throwing away. You never see that, and there's no enjoyment. Like, I don't know anyone that goes to an ATM and is like, oh yeah, this is so exciting, I'm gonna get my money out and I don't care if it costs me $2. Like, that's painful every time.
Yeah, I hate that.
To me sometimes, even with the amount of cash that I usually carry, sometimes I need some more. And If I'm not in a location where my bank is and I have to pay that fee, it hurts.
Mhm.
Um, but for you, those of you going to college, those of you working part-time right now, banks are an important piece of your personal money. So I'm not going to recommend any one bank. I'm going to recommend that you do your homework. A couple of things I want you to know about the banks. If you are working and your employer will give you direct deposit, know that a lot of banks will give you an incentive for getting direct deposit. Okay. So you get direct deposit means that your money goes from your paycheck directly into your bank electronically. It's quick and easy. It's there on payday and you don't need to worry about it. And you don't need to go to the bank to get your check cashed. A lot of banks, when you first open your account, will give you like a free $20 just for doing direct deposit. That's pretty awesome. Who doesn't love free money? So that's something to consider. The other thing to consider is what sort of accounts does your bank provide? And checking account, savings account, they differ in a couple ways. Your checking account is your in and out. Money goes in, money goes out. That's what it's supposed to be. Your checking account is not a savings program. They generally have almost no interest, but honestly, no account right now.
Yeah, savings accounts, they are so low right now. It's, yeah, no.
Yeah. But one important thing to ask questions about is, does the checking account I'm looking at require a minimum monthly balance? Okay. And for if you are looking at a credit bearing checking account, and there are credit bearing checking accounts out there, you think, oh yeah, credit bearing means free money for me. I love that. Who doesn't love that free money? But let's say you've got $10,000 as your principal investment in your checking account, and that account is making right now maybe 0.2%. You're looking at about $20 for the year.
Mhm.
Big whoop on my big $10,000, right? And what happens if I want to buy a $9,000 car with my $10,000? So I go out and feeling really good. I've saved that $10,000. It's in my checking account. I don't have to take a loan. Now my checking account drops down to $1,000. And my minimum monthly balance is $5,000. Well, darn. Now the bank is charging me a fee.
Yeah, usually it's $15 a month, 10, anywhere between 10 and 30 ranging.
Yeah, and that would really suck because that would wipe out all of that interest that I had gained in saving my money so hard. So that's something you want to be aware of. What are the fees for the checking account you're looking at? There are, I would say every bank has completely free checking accounts. They
Mhm.
come with some caveats. Maybe you don't get checks. Maybe you, yeah, who knows? Every bank's going to be different, but check into what that checking account entails and look for a free account. Look for the one that gives you the free money. And I guess that's it. We didn't cover how to write a check. Probably most people don't write checks anymore.
Not too much anymore, every now and again.
You hear about checks, and I still write checks for certain things, but it's not a frequent thing for me. Check registers are a thing of the past. And I think the more important thing for you guys is to be aware of your checking account. And if you do have a checking account, get that mobile app that you can go on your phone and look at it, watch it, make sure there's no fraudulent charges.
Mhm. Yeah, check it regularly.
Make sure there's money, because
Mhm.
you don't want to do is overdraft.
Mhm.
Most of those free checking accounts will have overdraft protection, which is really great because when you go to the gas station to buy your coffee, you don't have that embarrassing moment where you try to buy that $1.82 coffee and your credit card or your debit card gets declined. Say, sorry, there isn't any money in this account, so your card was declined. That's not the way the bank is going to do it. That overdraft protection is just going to give you, they're going to give you a loan, an instant loan for that $1.82 coffee.
And then they're going to charge you $35 to do
Then
it.
they're going to charge you $35 for that service.
Yep.
So now you didn't pay $1.82 for the coffee, you paid $36.82 for that coffee.
Yep.
And that's a good way to lose your hard-earned money.
Yep. Yep. You got to keep track of it. You have to check it regularly.
So I think we'll go over actually filling out a check, maybe in person or another day. I don't want to give my own out and numbers unless any of you want to make deposits to my bank. You know, by all means, I'll give you my routing number for that.
You have to make deposits to mine as well, though. That's the deal.
Yeah, right. Andy and Lisa. So let me catch up on some of these comments. So Becky just commented that she tried with a lot of different budgeting. My little baby is up on my table. Hello, little saver.
Hello, baby.
You have savings account? Say, yes, I do. So Becky was saying that she tried with a lot of different budgets before she got the one that worked for her, and that it's different for every single person. And I agree with that, Becky, 100%. What works for one does not work for all. Christina commented that after making sure her necessities were covered, she prioritized her wants because she knows her budget is not unlimited. It's a very important piece. And Christina says, if I forget cash for something that requires cash, I'll stop by a supermarket and buy a pack of gum or something small so I can take out some cash without it costing extra.
Yeah.
That's a great tip, Christina.
Yeah. Great way to avoid
a debit card feature. When you go to a grocery store, generally you can get cash back and it counts as just a debit card transaction. So you've actually paid that money and then they give you a $20 or $40. I tried that once and some stores have started charging the fee for that even.
Yep, I've seen that.
I know at least like Dollar General, you go to Dollar General and try to do that and they're going to charge you like $1.50 extra. And then they limit the amount of money in cash back you can get. So great tip, Christina. And Becky says a lot of banks and of student accounts have either free or minimal fee. Becky says Dollar Tree also adds a fee, so be careful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So great tips. We hope that I look forward to more discussion about this with you guys individually because this is such an individual thing. And it depends on whether you're making money, how much money you're making, and how much money you have to spend. That all determines how much money you have the ability to save. So give us adults can help you in thinking about those things, but first and foremost, you need to start knowing and understanding what is right for you and what you're doing currently. Okay. Any other questions? Anything you want to add, Lisa?
Nope, you covered it well.
All right. Upward Bound. We're about to sign off. Please join us again tomorrow for Fun Friday, where we talk about anything under the sun. Maybe we'll even talk about the sun because this week has been super sunny, right?
Finally.
Yeah. So might even talk a little bit about the weather. And we look forward to having more conversations about your personal finance and your money adulting. For now, take care. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy the sunshine that I'm seeing outside. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Have a great day, everybody. Bye.